Thank you, Mr President. I seek leave to make a brief explanation before addressing a question to the Treasurer on the topic of government advertising guidelines.
Leave is granted.
Thank you, Mr President. 2 Sundays ago, residents of South Australia were given a day's reprieve from the eternal Harvey Norman raps on our papers at the moment to see a rap on the Sunday Mile of 4 full pages touting the government's water bill savings. My questions to the Treasurer are, what is the name of this campaign? What is the purpose or function of this campaign? How will that campaign be evaluated? What is the cost of the campaign to date and to the future? And will you table the evaluation plan for this campaign?
The Honourable Treasurer.
Mr President, I'm delighted to answer these questions on behalf of the government. Mr President, in reverse order, the government is committed to doing evaluations of its government advertising and makes available those particular evaluations publicly on the government website, Mr President. So the answer to that question is yes. At the end of the campaign there will be an evaluation. In terms of the cost, Mr President, that's already been publicly acknowledged, as I understand it, by the Minister, with carriage for it at approximately $1.2 million, Mr President. The extent of the campaign, I believe, is not only for the remainder of this calendar year, but extends, as I understand it, into the early part of next year. I'm advised, Mr President, by those responsible for the campaign that the purpose of the campaign is to drive people to the SA Water website, to the estimator, I think it's called, not a calculator, to estimate the extent of the savings. I'm sure the honourable member will be delighted that the average South Australian household will save around about $200 a year, having reversed some of the decisions of the former Labor government in relation to the cost of water, and many other high-use households, particularly those with 2 parents and 3 or 4 particularly teenage children who might shower a lot, Mr President, but high water consumers. On average value households, Mr President, average value households may well save $400 or $500 a year. Businesses, Mr President, on average saving about $1,300, and I think the Premier was at Heine's nursery a week or so ago, where the proprietor there, Mr President, indicated his savings might be up to $100,000 a year. So it's all about the lower water prices, is all about driving down the cost of living for households, but also trying to drive jobs and economic growth in South Australia. In terms of how much has been spent so far, I can't give an answer on that, Mr President, but the answer is the total value of the campaign, Mr President, I'm advised, is about $1.2 million in terms of the total value of the campaign. As I said, the purpose of the campaign, so I'm advised, Mr President, is to drive people to the SA Water website and to the estimator. The other rationale for the campaign, Mr President, is that the more people are confident that governments are actually going to deliver concrete reductions in their water prices, the more confident they'll be in going out and spending money in the economy. So if the member has been taking notice of the ads, they talk about, Mr President, the capacity to go out and spend money in the economy, buying footy boots for the kids because they might not have been able to afford them, going down to the local pub and spending money in the a local small business, or taking a holiday down to Victor or to Robe and spending money in terms of the tourism and visitor economy. So it's a question of trying to generate confidence in the economy, because it is important that people do have confidence that there is more money coming into their pockets, and that they've got some confidence that they might be able to spend a little bit of that money in the economy and get the economy churning along. The final point I would make, Mr President, is that this government made a couple of commitments prior to the election. One, Mr President, we would spend significantly less on government advertising, and in each budget we report on that, and that has been shown to be the case, significantly less spent by this government on government advertising. And we also, Mr President, prevented the shameless use of promotion under the former government, where former Premier Jay Weatherill, with his energy plan, Mr President, saying, look at me, look at me, look at my energy plan, and the millions that were spent on that, we made sure that the Premier of a Liberal government, or indeed the Minister, wouldn't in an equally shameless way be allowed to appear in government-funded advertising, and we've ensured that that's the case.
Supplementary, the Honourable Mr Pengello.
Thank you, Mr President, and thank you to the Treasurer. That's a relief to kind of phrase on the ad. Can the Treasurer please supply figures of how many people have responded to the website since the start of those ads?
And I'm happy to take that on notice, but I suspect they might have been flooded by responses.
Supplementary, the Honourable Mr Franks.
Is, given the function of this advertising campaign is to drive hits to the website, is there any other purpose or any other measurable associated with this campaign?
Mr President, I refer the member to my answer to the earlier question. That is yes. That is, it's all about engendering or trying to engender confidence in the economy in terms of consumers to get out and spend money in the local economy, whether it be on footy boots or whether it be on the local hotel for a pub meal, or whether it be to a South Australian location for a visitor economy experience. So there are a number of purposes for the campaign. In terms of the evaluation, there are a number of technical measures with a lot of these campaigns in terms of the evaluation, and we've committed to making that publicly available when it's done. But I suspect a lot of these campaigns, they have some similarity. They would measure the number of hits, which is the question I think that the Honourable Mr Pengello has asked to the particular website. They would probably do post-campaign research to indicate responses to the particular campaign. So the evaluation mechanisms are pretty consistent, Mr President, as used under the former government and continue to be used by this government. The only major changes we've made, as I said, were to stop the shameless promotion of premiers and politicians in the campaigns, and secondly, to significantly reduce the total amount of money we spend on government advertising.
Supplementary, Mr President, arising from the original answer that wasn't answered, what is the name of the campaign?
Treasurer.
Well, Mr President, I don't know that it actually has a name. There are taglines, Mr President, but it is, well, Mr President, it is a campaign which promotes the savings to consumers, both businesses and households, Mr President. It has a tagline which the Honourable Mr Pengello has clearly remembered, and therefore it therefore demonstrates the success. It demonstrates the success and the effectiveness of the campaign, that in a mere week he was able to repeat the tagline in the commercial and the government advertising. So we'll put him in the evaluation column as a tick, Mr President, proudly so. But Mr President, these campaigns, having chaired this particular committee, Mr President, don't have names. They actually are promoted by the Tourism Commission or SA Water or the various departments and agencies, and it might be a road safety campaign, it might be a promotion of water savings campaigns, Mr President, it may well be a stop smoking campaign, Mr President, but the taglines will be completely different to the general nature and the structure of the particular campaign.
Supplementary, the Honourable
Yes, thank you to the Treasurer, and I can recall the tagline because there's a repetition of each ad on television after about 90 seconds. To the Treasurer, can he explain why it was necessary to take out a full-colour 4-page wraparound in the Sunday Mail?
Mr President, that was part of the promotion that the Minister, the Department put in terms of the $1.2 million campaign. The combination of television, radio, digital, press, including the wraparound to which the honourable member refers. In some cases, I'm not sure in this case whether it's bus packs and a variety of other advertising media which are used, Mr President, are all part of an overall package which is recommended by the agency and the media placement agency, that particular, probably Wavemaker, but there are two or three that the government uses, Mr President, recommends in terms of how best to get your message out so that people like the Honourable Mr Pangallo can remember the tagline. So they clearly made the judgment the best way to get the Honourable Mr Pangallo to remember the tagline was to have a wraparound together with television, Mr President, so that he was aware of the particular tagline. And more importantly, we hope, drove him to the estimator on the SA Water website to find out how much money he is going to save under a Marshall Liberal government compared to the travails of the former Labor government.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Mr.
Yes,
Pangallo.
to the answer. Will the Minister be able to provide a detailed breakdown of the costs involved in the multimedia campaign?
Look, I'm happy to take on notice to see what information I might be able to provide, Mr President, because it is a lengthy campaign. I might be able to provide some general information in relation to the general costs of the campaign in terms of television and radio, Mr President. But I'll take that into consideration to see what, if any, further information I might be able to provide.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Ms Franks.
What is the Treasurer's role in approving government advertising? Supplementary.
Question, the Honourable Ms Franks.
What financial number per hit on the website will be seen as a good outcome? Are we talking $10, $20 per hit on a website for a $1.2 million campaign, or are we talking less than the postage stamp it would have cost to post them this with their water bills?
Treasurer.
Mr President, I've already indicated that the government will make publicly available the evaluation of the campaign. I've already indicated, Mr President, in general terms, how campaigns like this are judged in terms of their effectiveness, and I'm not sure there's much more that I can add to the responses to the two or three earlier questions of a similar nature that have been put to me.